deficit.
Did everybody get that information I sent you yesterday?
Yes, I got
I
it.
looked over real briefly, yes.
Okay. And basically, I set out, we really have three options. And I set those out in that commentary for you guys.
Right.
The first one, where did I put that first? I gotta look.
It's amended
The first-
to show a budget deficit. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the easiest one for us. Originally, I was under the impression that we always had to submit a balanced budget, but in talking with Mary Richter, we do not have to do that. We can just leave it unbalanced as long as we have the funds and can say where the money's coming from to balance it, which at this point in time we do. That would be the simplest things, which effectively means at the end of our fiscal year, whatever budget deficit we have, we will pay from our checking and savings accounts. So going forward, we're going to have to know that what's in our available cash is really going to be $45,600 less if it goes, if the budget is pretty close. That's the simplest way. The other thing is, and I reviewed the wording, I would refer all of you guys to look at Resolution 2019-004 and 005. They address the setting up of the water tap accounts. And that language is very specific. It allows us to use those funds for capital improvements of the sewer and water, for our sewer and water. Okay.
Could you give me those regulations numbers again?
They're the resolutions, and it's our resolutions, Ted. If you look on the website, there's a thing to click on for ordinance and resolution. And the one you want to look at is 2019-004 and 005.
Okay.
So we can use the money that we have collected for the additional $8 up to this date. And right now we have about $30,000, a little bit over $30,000 in there. So we can either use a portion of that. So say you wanted to use a portion of those funds and then show less, which means we would show less of a budget deficit, or we could use all of the deficit and charge it over the year. We can only use it for water tap or for water maintenance issues. We can't use any of the sewer money because that $8 is specified as water tap fee. So what we could essentially do is say take the 40 starting next month or whenever we decide to do it, instead of charging repair and maintenance fees to the budgeted expense for water, we would charge it from the water tap account until we reach that. And after that, we would go ahead and use our budgeted amounts. So the bottom line is, how do you guys feel more comfortable? Do you want to just show it all as a deficit? Do you want to use a portion or all of those water tap fees to pay for it?
What's the third option, Colleen?
The second, I said use a portion of it, and then the third, use all of it.
Oh.
So, Bob, are you there? Is Cooch there?
Yes, I'm here. Yes.
Yeah. the other thing is, are we anticipating anything big that we know of? That we're going to need some, money?
Are you talking about water or sewer or both?
Well, we probably should talk about both because, we actually have like $118,000 in our general checking account right now. And, that's our operating income. And we have some sewer savings. Jesse, are the water and sewer savings accounts state pool accounts, or are they just designated that way on our books?
We have both. So with the water capital reserve fund.
Yeah, I understand. That's our new $8 one, but I'm talking about those
and we have a water savings account. And there are specifications on what we can use, obviously water and sewer, but if our bank balance runs low in our general O&M fund, we don't have any rules or regulations on drawing out from the water and sewer savings to use those funds.
That was my question. They aren't state. Yeah, we have just earmarked them because I know that, Bob, and I just want to kind of get an idea from you. There's some issues up on the hill, so we may very well be using some of that sewer savings, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Remember, as a reminder, we have, while we have the Rayfield valves are in and functioning right now, all 5 of them. Our sand filter bed, we have 5 of them, and only 2 of them are functioning. So we've been trying to limp along like that, and I'm not sure if we can continue like that, or if there'll be additional expenses with more valves up there. But at this point, we're going to continue to try to go as we are, but that's no guarantee we can stay like that. And then the other issue is the sewer, the lagoon itself and the liner. We're trying to determine, even in the next couple of days, if we can run the seepage test because we believe it'll hold, or if it will not, we believe there's a further leak, which would mean we'd have to determine where it is, and then we wouldn't be able to do our seepage test until probably July because JUB needs to have their equipment in Twin Falls as quickly as possible.
Okay.
In terms of the water side, I don't foresee anything. We've already paid for it. We're still waiting for the equipment to come in for the Drormore booster station with the SCADA to connect everything. I'm not seeing anything at this point that would say we've got an imminent problem. Now, we have had an issue with one of the pumps at Drormore that's been noisy, but it's been a year and a half now and it's been running fine. But that's not, we're not talking tens of thousands there for sure. We're not talking the expense of what we did at the sewer triplex. That was a bigger project, and that's
right.
It's functioning fine right now. But I'm not foreseeing anything at this point that says it's imminent and we're going to be costing tens of thousands.
What is the valve cost up at the sewer though? What are those valves a piece?
I think they're generally about $4,000 to $5,000 a piece, plus labor to install it.
Okay.
You're talking about the 5 valves?
Yeah, I'm talking about the ones to the sand filter beds. There's 2 of them that work and
right.
3 that do not or have been missing over the years. So
we're talking 15 to 20 grand then.
Yeah, easily that could be that, and then we have to figure out again with a liner. That's an unknown there. We're hoping it's just some kind of a valve issue, or if it stabilizes today, we'll know that if there is a leak, it's above that point and it'll be easier to track down, or we could operate our irrigation lagoon at a shorter capacity but still maintain the services we need to do.
Okay.
See, I'm wondering on those valves, Bob, is it, the system is made so that you kind of go back and forth using, 2 or 3, you switch back and forth with them?
Well, yeah, so and actually, again, there's 2 functions. One is for the sand filter beds, and they're supposed to rotate back and forth depending on how much effluent goes in there. The other one is the 7 different sprinkler zones. So we have actually 7 valves on sprinkler zones and 5 the sand filter beds. To the best of my knowledge, we haven't tested it this year, but all the sprinkler zones should be functioning fine. It's the sand filter beds that I know that we have 2 of them that are working, 1 that is not, and 2 that were removed years ago. In other words, to get it to work like it was originally engineered, we'd have to have all 5 valves going and rotate the sand filter beds, which has never been done since I've been there.
Right.
Yeah, because at one time I talked to one of the old operators about that and asked them why they weren't using them, and they said that since they were rotating, that the ones that were sitting there unused seemed to develop problems, and then they'd have to rebuild them anyway. So that was my only question. Should we get 3 of them up? It seems to me we have to have a backup if one of them fails, but
Yeah.
maybe not do all 5.
Well,
I don't
see,
know
actually,
about
that's what we did, Colleen. That's what we did last year. We had sand filter bed number 3 has been working the entire time. We got a new valve on number 2, but the problem is when they sit so long there like that,
Right.
you have to. I don't want to use the term bake them or cook them a little bit because there's so much bacteria, and you can shock the irrigation lagoon that we can't pass our chlorine tests, and then the DEQ gets alarmed what's going on. So we have to, when we do it, we have to bring it on gradually, like maybe run it for a few hours and then go back to the other one, and then run it for a few hours again a few days later. So in other words, there's a process. You don't just turn it on and say it's good, kind of a thing.
Absolutely. I understand, Bob. Okay.
Ready?
Okay, so getting back to how we should look at this money,
Well, I'd say that we should just go with the simplest, if that's okay with you, Colleen.
I didn't catch that, Allie.
You recommended, or you suggested that the simplest would be the best. Is that your recommendation?
Is the
No,
option 1 just to go with it and take it out of, we have to use the term on the budget, Mary told me, carryover funds, which to most of us coming out of private business, that means retained earnings. On our books, it means carryover funds. So we have to know, and Jesse, I need some input from you here, is that means that $45,000 at the end of the year is going to come out of the combination of, well, to me, Jesse, it's got to come out of our general fund because I know that Bob's going to need some of that sewer savings money. And then in the water savings, as far as I'm concerned, Bob, we've got enough to pay for one big pump failure. I mean, that's what we have, guys. So I know I've had several people tell me we've got $200,000 that we can spend. That's not, if you just look at our books, we don't. Those other funds are guarantee funds. I didn't even
Right.
introduce them because that's not money we can touch.
Right.
So I just want everybody to understand what we're looking at here financially.
Right.
You know, we are not cash rich, guys. And I'd like each of you, well, we're going to talk to Mary, but in the meantime, one of the portions of the audited financial statement is you all need to look at our cash flow. And we consistently are in a negative cash flow position, and that isn't good. So
Yeah, we have been for the last 6 years.
yeah, and so I just want everybody to understand that $45,000 is going to come out of our limited funds here, and Bob's going to need money.
So Mary's training, or whatever you want to call it, will that kind of help us understand the budget more?
Well, it's going to help you understand, when you look at a financial statement, what does it mean? Yes, and definitely help you guys understand exactly what we're talking about right now.
Right.
And a lot more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mary would be great. There's, not only going over the last audit that was done and having her help us understand that, but getting any questions to her, understanding where the district has been and is going, but also what the budget as well. So that'll be a great workshop for all of us.
Yeah, because it's not going to be too many months down the road. The way time flies is we're going to be doing a budget again. So there needs to be a pretty good understanding of.
Colleen, do you think it would be beneficial to wait until we have the class with Mary and then decide on this? Or do we need to do this right now?
Well, my feeling is I am really concerned about transparency, you guys, because that old board, that was one of the biggest problems we had in the community.
Yep.
They weren't transparent. And I am going to go overboard the other way. I'll tell you all, that is what I intend to do. So,
well, that's fine.
I feel we need to amend the budget, and if you would like to, we can say in the initial amendment that the budget will be handled by either, well, let's just say a combination of our carryover and the water cap facility, and we can say and or a combination. So that would leave us that down the line, if we want to, we can just take it all as carryover, or we can adjust part of it to the water cap fund. That's what I would suggest, because I think we need to amend the budget. Jesse, what do you think?
Yeah, I think we definitely should. But kind of along the lines of what Allie was thinking too is, I think this discussion is absolutely great. It kind of presents to the viewing public and the board that this is a concern. And then I think we should maybe wait for any changes till everyone of the board members feels like they can get their questions answered and stuff from Mary and get a little more educated. I think when we sit down with Mary, we can, finalize amended the budget and things like that.
So we want to probably table this until after Mary's thing. That's what we want to do.
Well, I think that I think we should table it, but I also I'm hearing also Colleen's concern. But I think since we addressed it, Colleen, public, that people know that we're working on it. So
Right.
So I think my suggestion would be wait until we meet with Mary.
Okay, that's fair enough, and it's just the 26th, so it's not like it's going to be.
Yeah.
Do you want to make a motion, Allie? You want to make a motion?
I make a motion that we table this item until after our meeting with Mary, so we can be educated on the budget and make a really good decision on this.
Meeting on the 26th of May.
Right.
Yes.
Correct.
So, and I would second that.
Okay.
Call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So I think that was the last one, wasn't it? So
Yep.
do we put anything for discussion?
I have a question on in going over the reports. I notice we don't have a capital improvements, and we've done several things that are capital improvements, like the controls and so forth, and I think those expenses have just been thrown into the maintenance, and there really shouldn't be maintenance because it is a capital improvements to our water system.
We don't have a capital improvements fund except for the water cap fund fee that we just set up for the $8. That's the only one we have.
You're right, but we have money that has come out of the maintenance or being charged to maintenance rather than capital improvements, and that should not be a burden of maintenance.
So Ted, are you suggesting that we make another line item for capital improvements? Is that what you're suggesting?
Yes, that would be the suggestion, and we're going to have capital improvements on on both. Like, the valve that was put in for the sewer, that wouldn't be a capital improvement because that is maintenance to keep the operation running. But then the Bigfoot or the radio controlled is definitely a capital improvements because it does not affect the maintenance side, and it does. It's a asset that we have put in there that makes our water district more valuable.
Well, Ted, I think that would be a good question for Mary at our meeting.
Yeah.
If we should add a line item. What do you think, Cody?
No. Okay, this is the situation. We're comparing apples to apples because the capital improvement, if you guys want to set up an account